Welcome to the third workshop about the course planning and design for Almost All Teaching. My name is Megan Linos. I'm the Director of Learning Experience Design and Online Education at DTEI. Today, we're going to talk a little bit of the universal design principles, universal design of learning principles. And then we want to start focus on structuring your Canvas course. What are the essential components? And then we will show you some faculty examples, how they organize their Canvas course. And later on of today's session, we want to share with you a Canvas template that DTEI designed it for you. So all you have to do is import that to your course site, and you don't have to build your course from scratch. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then at the end, we will wrap out today's session with the breakout session. The instructional designer will host each of the breakout room, and you can ask questions about how to set out your Canvas course, how to import your Canvas template to your course, or anything about Canvas. So let's get started. Let's do a little recap starting last Monday. So last Monday, we talked about planning and choosing what most we want to teach. So really it's about prep our mind about building this course. And what we did is that we talked about 5 modes of teaching, what the difference to help you make your decision. We also introduced the course planning worksheet. And last Thursday, after we plan the course, we start focusing a little bit on designing the course, designing your curriculum. You know, we want to think about what will be a nice learning path for my student to follow, and what kind of syllabus information will be good to revise for the modes of teaching you would choose to do in fall. And in this session, we talk about 5 quality teaching principles. We talk about things that you can revise your syllabus. And we also talk about how to design this learning path to guide students' learning. So finally, today, we are going to build the course. By building the course is how do you organize and building a course based on all this material that you actually put together in the planning and design stage. So today is gonna be very practical. Hopefully that will help you to get your course ready. The first thing first, I want to remind you, Universal Design for Learning is a very nice framework to guide you to design your course that will fit in a diversity of learners. This video right here, if you already get the slides, click on this image, you will get to a very short video to introduce you this Universal Design for Learning. It is really worthwhile watching. I'm not gonna play that in this session. And another thing is that this is really the UDL guidelines. If you click on the link underneath, you can download the entire PDF to introduce the system, how you really need to think about ways to provide multiple means of engagement for your students, provide multiple means of representation, and how do you provide multiple means of action and expression. And if you can cover these 3 category when you build a course, your course will be really well designed for a variety of learners. If you're not quite sure what this document is about, you can click on the link to go to that document I just showed you. And then Dr. David Rose actually had a really wonderful video explaining how to take advantage of this guideline to really design the course. If you're interested, you know, feel free to watch this YouTube video after today's session. We're not gonna play it here, but it is really worthwhile watching to really learn about this design and philosophy and the guidelines. So I also want to remind you that after you kind of get your course design and everything, we want to make sure the course that we put together is accessible and it's really inclusive. So in our Thursday session, I really hope to see all of you here. We invited a group of campus leaders in this topic. Anita and Pavan are our professors who will talk about inclusive teaching. And we also had Andrew from the Office of Equal Opportunity and Diversity. We had Cor from the Graduate Division. We have Stephen from OIT. They will talk about teaching accessibility. How do you make sure your Canvas is accessible, your learning material is accessible? All right. So here's more resources that will help you to think about design the course. So I'm not going to go through this, but I really think you want to kind of click on this, especially the last article is very interesting. It talks about universal design for learning after COVID-19, which is exactly what we're going to do for fall. So I hope you're going to get this link and then be able to kind of read it, what they have to say. So those are the really quick design sense before we're gonna start our today's session. So now today's guest speaker is actually our instructional designer, Jennifer Fromm. She's gonna talk about how to structure your Canvas course to make it student friendly. And so before we started, I want to remind you there are 2 free courses that you can kind of attend and see if you can learn a little bit about Canvas and how do you make sure your Canvas course is accessible. So the link is right here. Feel free to attend those. So before we start, maybe we should think about what kind of elements do you include in your Canvas course to foster students' learning success. So I have a worksheet already created right here. I would like to ask the faculty, what kind of element do you usually include in your Canvas course as a way for us to really think about course design before Jennifer talk about how do you structure. So anybody feel free to type in anything that you think will be really cool to put in. So I will probably get started with course overview information. And what other information do you usually include in your Canvas course to really foster students' learning success? You know, how to make sure you keep your student with the learning pace that you designed it for them. So we have some faculty say, how to study for this course. Oh, that is so important to really onboard your student, to give them some recommendation, how to study this course, you know, to kind of set the right tone at the very beginning. Some people will say instructors information, very important to let your student know how to contact you or the TA so they can, you know, reach out to you for questions. Campus resources for students are important, especially during the pandemic. Things changes a lot and everybody going through different challenges. So the campus resources is very important that you provide it to your student. Luckily, you know, we all include this information for you already in the course template we're gonna introduce to you. So you will have a set of resources already plugged in if you use the template. Learning objectives for each module per week. That is a really good practice. Not every faculty does that, but when you do that, they give you students a sense of purpose, why you want them to do this work. Writing Center library resources, very good. Review videos, very good. Assignment rubric is also a good item to help students to understand your expectations, you know, when you grade the assignment. Oh, wonderful. We have 2 faculty talking about that. You know, this is a really thorough experience to know that our faculty actually value rubrics. Sometimes, you know, you do have to get buy-ins from faculty, but I found UCF faculty is so advanced in knowing these things. So please continue putting your input in there. And this will be a very nice takeaway sheet after the session for you to kind of thinking about the element. So I'm going to, let's give a round of applause for Jennifer to really help us to think about the essential structure. How do you structure your Canvas course? So Jennifer, feel free to start your presentation.
Hi, everyone. My name's Jennifer. So like Megan said, I'm an instructional designer here at DTI. And in this next section, I just want to briefly talk to you about kind of some of the essential components of a Canvas course website that will really help you facilitate student learning, right? So we're talking about kind of more of the design elements. So there are 6 main Canvas design elements that we'd like to review with you today. So really, in order for you to really also want to make sure you have some sort of inviting homepage. You also want to provide very easy access to essential information. So you don't want anything lost inside of your Canvas page. Anything that's really, really important should be front and center, and students should always know where they can find that information. You want to include some sort of week 0 or student onboarding module, right? So that they know what to expect of your course. And you can also include a lot of essential resources in there that are essential to, student success in your course. And you also want to have a well-structured learning path, which we kind of covered in our last 2 workshops, but we want to make sure that this really translates well in your Canvas course. And finally, you want to make sure that your materials are all accessible, and that way it meets the needs of all of your different types of students, right? So let's first start with the first element that we talked about, which is having a very clear course navigation. So Canvas defaults to having this super long list of all of these enabled course navigation elements. And so you kind of want to clean this up a bit for your students, right? You don't want them to see a bunch of things that they don't need. So what you want to do for this is you'll want to go into your course settings, and then you want to disable anything that you feel like your students don't need. You really only want to keep those that are absolutely essential. So you can, disable, enable by clicking on these little 3 dots, and then, or moving these elements up and down. Just make sure you hit save. And then when you go into student view, you'll be able to see, okay, this is exactly what I want my students to see. There shouldn't be anything in here that I don't want them to have. So having that clear navigation is super essential for a very clear Canvas course, right? The next element, or the next 2 elements, sorry, the animation is a bit off there, okay, is having an inviting homepage and having easy, essential information there that's easy to access right on your homepage. So you'll see here's a sample homepage design where you have your weekly navigation items right along the top of the homepage. And then you'll have a lot of like a few more important links to other Canvas course pages on the side. So everything is very front and center. Once again, you want to pick the items that you feel are most essential, right, to student learning. And, whether, you put them here or you have it on your Canvas overall navigation, you just want to make sure that, those items are easy to access and that, students will be able to easily find them. Another essential element that we strongly recommend that you include in your Canvas course is a student onboarding module, or what we call kind of like a week 0 module. So you can use this module to welcome students to your course, provide important course resources. You can have them introduce themselves to each other. You can really include anything that you feel is really important for your students to know before the course actually begins. So here are actually some suggested onboarding items that we've put on the side here. So probably having definitely your course syllabus, that's pretty essential. Course schedule, you may want to have like a table schedule of what to expect every week. Course policies, you could put your instructor and TA introductions here. You could have office hours. A good idea would be to have some sort of pre-course survey, right, to know like what they know before even entering your course. You could have an icebreaker discussion board, a general Q&A. You can include course technology requirements and guidelines, any sort of online learning resources, and even emergency preparedness resources, right? So of course, you probably don't want to have all of these items on there. You don't want to overwhelm your students with this very, very long list and, too much information. So, pick and choose what you feel like, is most essential to be here. And you can actually divide up, what you feel like should be here versus what you feel like should be on your homepage, but kind of use these 2 tools to really prepare your students and onboard them for your course. Right. So another aspect of your Canvas course that you'll want to think carefully about is how you present your learning path, right? And once again, we've talked about this in the last 2 workshops. So for your learning path, you kind of have 2 ways you can approach how you want to present this in Canvas. So you kind of want to think to yourself, do you want your students to access your course content in a very linear fashion? Or do you want to give students the freedom to kind of choose how they learn, and you kind of want to be flexible with, where you put course items and things like that. So, so one option is what we call a module-based learning structure, that linear learning path. So you can create your modules, right? And put all of your items underneath and list them, one by one, and students will know to go down this list to complete the items. Or you can create what we call a page-based structure, where you can use Canvas pages to actually set up weekly pages for students to look at. So rather than looking at items within a module like this, you can actually put all of these items into a page and just have a separate page for each week, right? So this gives you a lot more flexibility in how you want to present your learning materials, how you want students to approach their learning. And, this takes a little bit more work, but, it can be very successful. So 2 different ways you can structure that learning path in Canvas. Right. And finally, you want to make sure that you create accessible materials, right? So there are actually 2 built-in accessibility checkers right now in Canvas. You can use the one that's right here. So if you go into any rich content editor, so that means like any page where you can hit edit and you have a place that you can type, there's this little symbol here. And this one is the Canvas accessibility checker tool. And the one on the bottom here is one that UCI actually purchased, and that's called Pope Tech. So 2 different accessibility checker tools that you can use, and they both will point out like possible issues with your Canvas pages and will give you tips on how you can fix those issues. Oh, and we're also going to be having a workshop later on this week on Thursday about accessibility. So, if you want to learn more about that, make sure you attend that workshop. All right, so that's it for my part. I'm going to hand it back over to Megan.
So this is a very wonderful page that we created for you. There are 3 faculty showcases to show you how they develop their course. And then this middle part is really what we edited with more faculty's recommendation, how you can put your Canvas together. So today, what we're going to do is we're just going to watch one person, and then you can watch the rest on later. So let's get started. Let me know if you can hear the audio.
Thank you, first of all, to DLI for doing this workshop, and to Fanny, who's been a really great help for getting the Canvas set up, and also, of course, to Megan and everyone and all the other staff. And so I'm going to share my screen. I'll be teaching in summer session 2, a class called Global Issues in Anthropological Perspective. And so it's basically kind of a more advanced anthropology class, seminar type format, where the students are learning about a global issue that we kind of have some flexibility to choose on that, looking at it, of course, through anthropology. And so I'm looking in my class at global business ethics. And so thinking about kind of how we think about the role of corporations in society across the world, and different approaches to ethics, different types of corporate forms around the world, and how that impacts also corporate behavior around the world. And so, as you can see, kind of have this really nice welcome page that I was able to do with a lot of Fanny's help, which was really great. And as a lot of the other kind of presenters have been talking about, lots of linking in between pages to try to make it easier for the students so that they can very quickly get to different information in multiple different avenues. So I'm going to go on the student view so that you can kind of see what that looks like for the students. So first of all, very few links on the left so that they don't get confused by all of the different kinds of material that's being involved. So kind of hide as much of the background information as possible. And so when they get to the homepage, they can easily find the syllabus, find all of the information about the course policies. Again, a lot of this coming from the workshop, which has been really useful. Setting out very clear grading policies, and then they can very quickly access office hour information. And so here again, kind of thinking about having the students being able to answer each other's questions. Of course, it's always hard to kind of get that engagement on Canvas. So also making sure to monitor that as often as possible. And then most importantly, I think having information for each week being accessible on the homepage. So the students can click on any of these weeks, on the finals, on the start here, to kind of get information about what's going on that week. So just to kind of give you an idea of how the class is being organized, the students are doing readings through a tool called Perusal, which is a great tool for letting the students be able to collaboratively take notes on the readings, kind of engage with each other as they're reading, and make sure that the notes aren't just for themselves, but also for engaging with their fellow classmates. And then they'll be doing video lectures that I'll be preparing. And again, this is all in summer session 2, so I haven't gotten to the lecture videos yet, unfortunately, but I'm going to be kind of creating that content over the next couple of weeks and fitting it into there. And then they'll be writing weekly memos about the readings and the class content. And finally, at the end of the class, they will have a final paper. The thing that's been really helpful working with Fanny is that she kind of helped me come up with a structure where the final paper wouldn't just be something that happened at the end of the course and just 35% of the grade dropped in right at the end of the course. Now I've set up some ways to make it a more of a gradual process. So I'm having the students submit a thesis draft for the final paper in week 2. And then I'm having them create a paper outline in week 4, which then they're going to be doing peer review on. And so that's kind of helping divide up the grading of the final paper so that it's less of one big component, and also helping structure the final paper so that they have more time to engage with it. So yeah, it's been really helpful having all of the support with this class. And it's been, I think, even more, I knew it was going to be very helpful, but I've been very pleasantly surprised by how helpful it has been.
That's a very quick video about a faculty showcase, and I encourage you to watch others. They are all kind of nice example to kind of give you an idea about how other faculty organize their Canvas course. So now I'm gonna go to the next slide. Okay, here we go. Now here comes the really exciting part is I'm gonna show you the template that this faculty was using in the presentation. So you will all have access to this template on your own. And right now, there's a link right here. I'm gonna show you what this link means. So first of all, let me put in the chat for you. So you will be able to get this link. Once you click on this link, you will be asked to self-enroll to a Canvas course, which is this course right here. So that is the first thing you will need to do is get yourself into this course as a student so you can take a peek about this template that we created for you. And then the second thing you will need to do is you will need to click on this link right here to download this template to your computer. And then there's other place we also put a template you can download. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to upload this template in the chat as well. So if you don't know how to download it from that link, you can download this file from the chat. So now things are sending to your way. You should be able to see a file that you can click on in the chat to download this file. And when you download this file, what do? Is you go to your Canvas course and you go to settings and you will go to import course content because you're going to import a template. And then you're going to choose Canvas course export package, and you browse the file that you just imported. So you just exported. So for example, this is the file looks like. It's called IMSCC, this file. You can choose on that. You choose all content and click import. Once you click on an import, the whole template will go to your course directly. And before I start, I want to give a couple warnings about using this template. This template is good for faculty who do not have anything built in the past. So if you already have a very good structure, a setup, you just want to tweak what you have, you may not want to use this, because once you import this file over, your course will be having two versions. One is the Canvas template, one is what you have. It's gonna be a mess. So if you already have something that you built from before, you have two choices. One choice is that you can create a sandbox and import this template to a sandbox and then modify, kind of move things manually back and forth if you love this template so much. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is that you will use whatever you have. Since now you have access to the template, you move the components you want from the template to your existing course, so you don't impact on the stuff you're already in. So I want to make sure you don't make a disaster decision by importing the template to your very wonderful course, and in and out it's like totally ruined, and you're gonna be so mad. So making sure to be to kind of determine your needs here. If you don't have a very good course design, you want to restart all over again, that's good. Go ahead to create a sandbox and put the template in there and modify it from there. Otherwise, do not import that. So I want to really talk about it before I continue our presentation for today, because that could become a disaster. So before I kind of go through the template, I want to give you a little reminder about how this template is set up. And I also want to be mindful about the time. Okay, so this template is already ready for you. All you had to do is just change your course title. All these links, you don't need to touch these weekly links. They are already programmed for you. You could change, you could change the banner if you want. We just choose this default banner, but if you want to choose yours, you can. And then on the sidebar here, we give some of default buttons that you could actually add more by click on enter, or you can delete them. And then finally, you need to modify this welcome message to your student. So that is the homepage we designed it for you. Another thing is that if you want to have a different landing page for your course, all you have to do is go to Canvas homepage and click on choose homepage, and then choose a different landing page that the Canvas template set it up for you. So for example, some people may want to have syllabus as the homepage. Some people may want to have a different modules as a homepage. So you can change that on your own. Another thing is that there are 3 options that you can make your syllabus available to your student. Number 1 is, we talked about the syllabus template last Thursday. You can pretty much just create a Word document version of your updated syllabus and save as a PDF, and then just upload this to Canvas and allow your student to access, and then just link this little button right here to that PDF document or a Word document. The second option is you can create a customized page, which we're gonna include that in the template for you. And you can just kind of put all the syllabus information on this page. So if something changed, you don't have to redo the PDF again. And every time you change something, you had to redo the PDF again. That could be also very hectic for you to do the work. So if you make it as a Canvas page, you could just go ahead to change the Canvas page and everything will be updated. And then the option 3 is you can use a default Canvas syllabus feature on the menu to kind of building with the course schedule. So there are 3 ways you can do that. Sometimes it could be confusing because too many options. So if that happens, feel free to schedule a DTI office hours, and our instructional designer will help you to figure out what's the best for you. Another thing is that, all these buttons are already presetted. That is actually set it up in a very nice Canvas module with different weeks of information, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. Each week, we recommend faculty to have a weekly roadmap, a weekly overview to kind of onboard your student before the week begins. And there's a template page already set it up for you as well. And this is really what we highly recommend faculty to have a module called week 0 or some sort of welcome module to kind of onboard your student. And Jennifer also talked about the importance. So that is also building in the template that you can modify it as your leisure. Okay, now this part is the part that is very unique for our situation here. We designed an emergency module embedded in this template. So there's some emergency information that you can use. And then you notice they are not published because you don't publish unless there's an emergency. So make sure you don't publish them and make sure when the emergency comes, you automatically already have these things so you can review and modify it before you make it public. So it will be a very quickly turnaround for your student to get the emergency. It's like school suddenly shut down or something like that. You already have a module kind of prepared for that situation, which is very useful in today's world. We could have earthquake, we could have wildfire or pandemic started, school shut down, and that's when you can kind of turn into emergency information really quickly to continue connect with your student without any delay. So that's something we're gonna show you. So now I'm gonna stop right here and kind of orient you about this template from an actual website. It may be easier for you to see. So now as a student, you can also see this page. There's certain things that is hidden from the student, like the emergency page. You will need to download the template and import to a sandbox in order to see that. So the first thing first, I want to let you know that these buttons are linking to a module session. So for example, week 2, you click on it, it will jump to module week 2 right away. And this is the module page that we created. There are 3 folders. I do want to bring it to your attention. The first folder is the resources for you as an instructor. So do not publish to, oh, this should be not published. So do not publish them for your student at all. They don't supposed to see that this is really for you. For example, we put the course syllabus template for you to use. We have a syllabus checklist for you to use. There's some sort of health guideline, inclusive syllabus. You can kind of see that as a resources for you or a pedagogical continuity. So this is the folder created for you. Do not publish to your student. You can probably look at those and delete it when your course comes. The second folder is also for you. Do not publish. This is a sample module each week that could be useful for you. For example, we will start with the weekly roadmap. And we have a session called Before Class. Because in fall quarter, a lot of people gonna teach hybrid, or they're gonna teach flip, or even mix of modes. So it's kind of nice to be clear, what do you want students to prepare before the class? What do you want students to prepare during the class? And what do you want them to do after the class? So that's how we organize the simple modules based on this kind of category. And then when you look at this module, before the class, we have a weekly reading already created for you. So you can actually see how it's like. If you like this format, you can create it for your own course. You know, we also have some sort of reading quiz associated with the reading already embedded as an idea for you to think about it. And some faculty may record some videos. So there is 3 different type of template you can use. The first one is you just put the video. So if you click on it, there's nothing on this page except 4 videos. So you can just change the link of these, embedded link of these videos for your own video instead of our default video, and change the title of the video for that. How do you do that? It's very simple. All you have to do is go to edit. And then you will be able to look at the, here, right here, upload course media. And then you can embed a UJA video in there, or you can put YouTube video there. I'm not gonna go through a lot of the Canvas features today. If you're interested, come to our group office hour session tomorrow, and then we'll be able to do a demonstration of how to do that. Today is just a really quick overview. So this particular template is about how you embedded the video into a UJA quiz. So student will be able to kind of take some questions while they watch the video. And the third template is about video embedded in the Canvas quiz. So you have these kind of options. Again, this is a sample modules for you to see what's possible. So you can, if you like any of these ideas, you could just start creating in your weekly folder right here. The second part about this sample module is during the class. That's it. If you have a class on Monday and Wednesday, from what time to what time, you can put it in this text right here. And right here, we have this little icon to make it easier for students to see what's going on. So you can say Monday, what is topic you want to talk about on a Monday? Where is the campus location and where's the room link to kind of accommodate almost our teaching. And we always like to create some sort of opportunity for students to recap about that lecture. So in this example, we create a discussion board for you to kind of allow them to kind of continue talk about what you discuss in the lecture before the next time comes. This could be also an assignment. It doesn't have to be a discussion board. So you have to think about what do you want to put it in during the class session. This is just a sample for you to get an idea. And finally, the last session is about after class. So we create two different ideas for you to think about. One could be, how do you wrap up this week? We'll give them an assignment for them to upload the file to you. Or we will allow them to do some sort of reflection or journal. You can do that. And you can also give them some sort of quiz or survey to check in with their knowledge and their learning at the end of the week. So this is really a sample module for you to get an idea. So do not publish them. This is for you. So now you see these two are the one do not publish. And then the third module we created is the emergency module that we created for you. Again, don't publish them unless you have to, the emergency comes. And also when the emergency comes, you want to make sure that you revise these files before you make it available to your student. So this is very important that you don't just kind of put this template there, because a lot of the information, for example, emergency information, if you click on the resources here, there's some information we put dotted line for you to kind of put your stuff in there. So you need to really kind of get this page ready before you make it available to your student. It doesn't hurt to prepare now. And then, so when the emergency comes, you don't have to rush making it happen. So we do have an emergency module created. And finally, this is the week 0 student orientation kind of module to orient students, to onboard them before the class begin. And I already put the dates here. September 23rd and 24th are the week 0. So I have syllabus. If you click on the syllabus, it actually goes to a syllabus page that you could just modify and put in your own information. There's a shortcut, you can click on it. We do have a COVID-19 information there, course description, all the things you can think of, we already put in there, including some sort of policy language, like Title 6, is that 6 or Title 4? Or we have information like inclusive excellence. We have diversity statement. These are all CAN languages. You can just modify it instead of drafting that from scratch. So if you use the syllabus page, it's also linking to the front. So the homepage, we have a course syllabus right here. So they are going to the same place. That gets really handy for students to navigate back and forth. Another information we put in week 0 is meet and greet. So we create a default discussion board so students can introduce themselves, during the week 0. If you don't want it, just go ahead and delete that. You don't have to have that. That's just a sample for you to think about it. We have a little survey. It's like an inclusive survey to kind of learn about students' learning expectations from taking this class. You can go in and modify questions as needed. So that could be a very nice thing for students to think about what they expect to learn from this class. And we put together a course technology requirement page in the template for you. So you see there's some information about the technology that you can use to modify for your students. And then finally, online learning resources. These are 3 links that we created for, we put together on this page for your student to learn about information. So far, if you look at the template, the first 4 folders are really trying to prep the student or prep you to get the course begin. And then you do need to go in and kind of look at if they are appropriate for your teaching. And the rest of the modules, we only put 1 item in each of the module. We already put the dates for you. That's very handy for you to teach in fall. All you have to do is go to this roadmap here and then figure out what do you want student to do for this week. There's some ideas kind of put it together. So you can actually modify this page to tailor for your teaching needs. If you don't want to have a roadmap, all you have to do is delete it, as simple as that. But if you really want to think about the sample modules, all these ideas, what do you want to grab over to your weekly modules? So if you kind of feel not sure about any of this, I highly recommend you to create to set out an appointment with our instructional designers. They will be happy to brainstorm ideas with you. So this is the Canvas template that we created for you to help you organize your content. Anybody has any questions about Canvas so far?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, I think I'm going to be teaching in person, even though we'll see what happens. But I'm structuring my Canvas like online. It's just very, I think the students liked it, and as if it were an online course, but I wanted to be, but the recording of like in class doesn't seem to be as easy as like when you do Zoom. When you do Zoom lectures, you can just like hit the button and upload it. And because some students already wrote me that they might not be able to be there all the time. But if so my question, I don't know if there's like in-person video recording advice.
We will have to kind of try to be accommodating the situation a little bit. Fall teaching will be kind of exciting. Let's see what it goes. So my suggestion for you is not every classroom is technology enabled. So there's one way you may want to consider is bring your laptop to the computer, to the classroom, and connect your laptop with the projector, and you will actually turn on Zoom, and then so they can see what's sharing on your computer. So your student in the classroom will see whatever on the wall, and your student in Zoom will be able to see whatever is shared. But they can hear your voice. They may not see your face if you move or anything, right? So if you write it on the board, they may not be able to see it well. But if you share a PowerPoint, if you have a prepared PowerPoint, then I think that would be a little bit easier to guide the talking. And another thing is that when you do classroom activity, which we're going to talk about in the next 2 weeks, all about digital active learning and how do you do that in the classroom or do it online. So when you do with 2 groups of people, one is in Zoom, one is in classroom, when you group them to do group activities, you will group everybody in Zoom as a group or 2 groups, okay? And then whoever in the classroom, you can just easily group how you usually group. So unless the Zoom one is only 1 person, then that could be a little bit challenging. But if there's more than 1 person, I think you can still put them it will be hard to group the in-person with online all together because it's like you're not
I have
in space.
18 graduates, and I think only 1 will be online.
Okay, so in that case, you may want to put a TA or yourself in there to engage a student or something like that. Is that undergraduate courses or is it graduate?
No, it's a graduate course.
Okay. Otherwise, undergraduate course, you can also consider having a learning assistant join that to interact. So maybe Swan, you can talk to ID by setting an appointment. We can kind of brainstorm on that idea with you. So let me share my screen again. So this is really the module that we created for the template for you. And let me go back to my slide to see if there's any other important thing we prepared that I want to mention. So you can actually see this slide. There's some technical instruction already showing to you, how do you delete the stuff you don't want it? And then here, this slide is very important, slide 35. Let me share that with you. It actually shows you how to import the template, how do you copy a page, or how do you copy a module. So these are the instructions. Hopefully they are straightforward. So you can just follow that and customize your page using the template. If not, I highly recommend you to join us tomorrow. We have a group office hour, and we're gonna not only demo how to do these things using the template, we are also gonna answer questions. And if you couldn't join us tomorrow, feel free to set a meeting, do the one-on-one meeting. We're gonna try our best to assist you in that. So this is one slide I think you want to kind of, and then here is another slide to show you that I just demonstrated. On the homepage, there's a little yellow icon. This is where you download the file, but I already upload that in the chat. So you can just download this file directly to the chat. Okay. I want to also talk about once you get your Canvas course set out, you may want to see, well, it might do a good job. I'm not sure if it's good or not good. Luckily, we have an associate professor from UCS School of Education, Di Shu. Her research is about online teaching and also digital learning kind of area. She put together a rubric for self-assessment, but in my opinion, it's really a guideline. So you can look at these items and kind of look at what you put together and see if there's ways you can do improvement. So I highly recommend you to take advantage of that.